Broadcasting from the last homely house in Rivendell, Middle-earth, this is the Secret Fire Podcast, Sent to Burn at the Heart of the World, episode 23. I'm Michael.
Oh, no!
Did you forget who you are?
I forgot how to do it.
You forgot who he is.
Well, it was rather abrupt.
This is episode 23, right?
No, he said we were ready. I brain farted.
You didn't even realize that I was talking?
I did.
Good thing we're not live.
It was one of those.
Oh, wait. We are.
Wait, are we recording?
Say!
Oh, that was nice.
That was great. And how you like to try to play it off like you were snoozing on the job or something.
I was.
Yeah, he was waiting for that moment
I wasn't.
to say, are you recording?
No, I was not doing that.
Knowing full well.
I blanked.
Alrighty, here we go.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Take two.
Okay.
Broadcasting from the last homely house in Rivendell, Middle-earth, this is the Secret Fire Podcast, Sent to Burn at the Heart of the World, episode 23. I'm Michael.
I'm Brenden.
I'm Micah.
On this episode, Boromir had a dream that led him to Imladris. Was this a chance dream? Was it another example of Providence? Yes, yes it was. Let's listen to this proud protector of Gondor. We invite you to come along, join the fellowship, become a servant of the Secret Fire each week here on the GCT Network.
This is your Great Commission transmission.
After that false start, Brenden saving the day, I might actually leave that in the YouTube video version of this episode.
Bonus features.
Yes, maybe a little outtake at the very end of the episode. I wonder if people listen to the absolute very last moments of this podcast, because sometimes, not always, I like to keep you on your toes, but sometimes we sneak in an outtake, a blooper or two there at the end. Here we are once again after an unexpected break.
Yeah.
I was trying to think real quick of a fancier word than break.
Unexpected hiatus?
Hiatus.
Too short to be hiatus?
I was trying to think of a Middle-earth-ish.
Okay.
So, which I just can't. We were waylaid by fell beasts.
Hey, there you go.
Life.
Hey, it happens.
Life. And so we did skip a week, and now we're having a hard time getting into the swing of things, I think. It was easier to come back after 2 weeks of missing.
How was that?
On the third week. Micah, what have you been up to?
Me, nothing.
Nothing?
No,
We've had the house to ourselves.
we have.
Yes, bachelors over here, Brenden, the past week.
Oh, it's been a bachelor pad?
We have been bachelors.
man.
All of our girls.
Man.
We have 4 girls, one's mom, all out in California this past week. And we did pretty good, Micah, huh?
We're live, so.
Hey, we watched some extended edition Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
And Micah, you've never watched those.
No, and I'm glad I have now.
Yes.
Well, not all of them, but.
Not all of them. We have. Okay, here's
What?
This is weird. I've had this extended edition for years, and I've been saving it for a special occasion. And it turns out that the very last disc. See, each movie is 2 parts, 2 Blu-rays. The very last one, which would be part 2 of The Return of the King, is actually
Part 1 again.
Part 1
so
again.
We have 2 part 1s and no part 2.
And it's labeled Part 2 on the disc.
What?
Yeah. So,
That's terrible.
yeah, so now I have to buy it over again.
What? No,
Yeah.
you should be able to. That should be a complaint.
Yeah,
You should
years
file-
afterwards,
File that complaint.
I probably
to
had
the-
that for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, hey, no, that should still work. It doesn't matter when you bought it. Just say, hey, look, I got this thing.
Hey, maybe one of our listeners out there has some kind of an in. You think that's a
Maybe so.
possibility?
Maybe so.
Contact us if that's the case, please.
Yeah.
So,
help you boys out.
right. Hey, here we are once again on a portico or a porch or wherever it is that the Council of Elrond is taking place. I don't know. Are you guys done with all this well-mannered frivolity and goofing around, being fools of toques and
Are
ready
we?
to get into it?
Are we done?
Yeah.
Council of Elrond is beginning. Come with me, both of you.
Both of you, come with me.
What was that from?
That was from the 1978 Ralph.
Animated?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do I always forget his last name? Bakshi?
Why do you always forgive it?
Well, because I'm a forgiving kind of a guy.
Oh, good.
Yes, Brenden, let's back up a little bit and get running start for this episode's discussion.
Sure. So we are in my paperback edition. I'm on page 2. Well, we'll start on 274. Michael, where are you in the Kindle?
In the 1-volume edition,
Yes.
it will be the same on my Kindle, and Micah has the paper version. We should be around page 244.
So Elrond is speaking. He's speaking of his past a little bit. He's giving everyone at the council an account of what has brought him to this moment. And he picks up with, but the lords of Minas Tirith still fight on, defying our enemies. Wait, is this Strider or is this Elrond? This is Strider talking.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who is this talking?
Where are you?
I was on page 274. I thought.
No, we're on page 244.
No, we have different editions.
Oh, yes.
You know what? Here, let's just pick it up here. This is still Elrond. Elrond. Gotta say it right.
Okay.
Elrond. But the lords of Minas Tirith still fight on, defying our enemies, keeping the passage of the river from Argonath to the sea. And now, that part of the tale that I shall tell is drawn to a close. For in the days of Isildur, the ruling ring passed out of all knowledge, and the three released from its dominion. The three as in the capital three.
Yes.
Were released from its dominion. But now, in this latter day, they are in peril once more. For to our sorrow the One Ring has been found. Others shall speak of its finding, for in that I played a small part.
All that morning, the Council of Elrond debated the history of the One Ring and its master, Sauron. Gandalf also told all present of Saruman, the traitor, and his desire for the power of the ring. Elves and dwarves, in their turn, told what they knew of Sauron's preparations for conquest. And so did Boromir of Gondor.
In Gondor, we're already under attack by the forces of Mordor. I am Boromir. In a dream, I heard a voice crying to me, saying, "Seek for the sword that was broken."
Let's see how this lines up with the text.
Man, way to really skip there.
Hey, no, just giving a little teaser, a little taste.
Hey, and listeners, forgive me. I have a bit of the sniffles, so I may be sniffling throughout the show, but it's not because I'm overwhelmed emotionally by Boromir.
I think you are.
At
But
least
you could
not yet.
probably use some Entwash. That was a great added scene.
It was.
Wait, somewhat.
Oh, well, you
Wait,
don't even know.
wait.
No.
Did you say int wash?
I did.
Ew.
Indeed, I did.
That's gross. That just sounds gross.
That's for a later time.
later time.
That's just. Is that like a neti pot thing?
No, that's
Is that
nothing like a
Can we
neti
do
pot.
the neti pot. I need to get the neti pot back out. Actually, are neti pots safe after 1 year?
Somebody timestamp this part of the show so that we can play this.
The heck is a neti pot?
Well, you'll get to that when we talk about Entwash.
Okay.
Oh man.
It's an old timey thing.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So he says, let's see. Elrond ceases speaking, but at once Boromir stood up, tall and proud before them. "Give me leave, Master Elrond," said he, "first to say more of Gondor, for verily from the land of Gondor I am come. And it would be well for all to know what passes there. For few I deem know of our deeds, and therefore guess little of their peril, if we should fail at
Oh,
last."
listen to that statement. Listen to that. For few, I deem, know of our deeds, and therefore guess little at their peril,
You say-
if we should fail at last.
Y'all don't know what's going on. Y'all don't know what's at stake. Listen up. Sit down.
Because what affects us will affect you,
Hey, there
which
you-
is true.
There you go. So he's clickbaiting himself. Is that,
Oh, no.
No?
Don't be
Okay.
talking. Well, this is a classy show. Don't
Sorry.
be saying words like that.
Sorry. Believe not that in the land of Gondor the blood of Numenor is spent, nor all its pride and dignity forgotten.
Oh, man. That's exactly what Elrond in the films said. The blood of Numenor is spent. I like how I do kind of like how the writers appropriated that Some would say misappropriated, but we'll just say appropriated and let the listeners decide.
Hey, it's all right. By our valor, the wild folk of the East are still restrained, and the terror of Morgul kept at bay. And thus alone are peace and freedom maintained in the lands behind us, bulwark of the West. But if the passages of the river should be won, what then? Yet that hour, maybe, is not now far away. The nameless enemy has risen again.
Voldemort.
Get out of here. Cross-franchising. Smoke rises once more from Ordodruin that we call Mount Doom. The power of the Black Land grows, and we are hard beset. When the enemy returned, our folk were driven from Ithilien, our fair domain east of the river, though we kept a foothold there and strength of arms. But this very year, in the days of June, sudden war came upon us out of Mordor, and we were swept away. We were outnumbered, for Mordor has allied itself with the Easterlings and the cruel Haradrim. But it was not by numbers that we were defeated. A power was there that we have not felt before.
It was not by numbers.
It was not by numbers. Yes.
That we were defeated. I do believe that you said that. I'm just putting emphasis on that. These are mighty warriors. And it wasn't the fact that they were outnumbered. That probably had very little to do with it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It was a power that they had not felt before.
It seems oddly silent, this episode.
Oh.
Are we?
Oh, my goodness.
Boy, we've gone this far and nobody... I can't
I
do
didn't even
everything.
notice.
I noticed it when I was reading. I was like, there should be some sort of score here.
I can't do everything.
Some sort of noise.
Here we go.
Hey, ooh. So this must be a late meeting.
The sounds of nature, the sounds of Lord of the Rings.
Hey, there you go.
Online.
Some said that it could be seen, like a great black horseman, a dark shadow under the moon. Wherever he came, a madness filled our foes, but fear fell on our boldest. So that horse and man gave way and fled.
So that horse and man.
Not like so that horse and man, he ran away. He was scared.
Watch your emphasis there.
Yeah, sorry. Only a remnant of our eastern force came back, destroying the last bridge that stood amid the ruins of Osgiliath. I was in the company that held the bridge, until it was cast down behind us. 4 only were saved by swimming, my brother and myself and 2 others, but...
Listen to that. I mean, listen to that. 4 only were saved in this skirmish, this battle at that last bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the 2 brothers.
2 brothers.
And then 2 others.
2 others. 2 brothers, 2 others.
Yes, from another mother.
Hey. But still, we fight on, holding all the west shores of Anduin, and those who shelter behind us give us praise. If ever they hear our name, much praise, but little help. Only from Rohan now will any men ride to us when we call.
Mm.
Remind me where Rohan is. Is that the north?
Well, that's the horsemen, the horse lords. That's the Rohirrim.
Yeah, okay.
That is...
Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
In this...
no, it's not north.
It's northeast-ish.
Listen to Micah.
From Minas Tirith, at least.
Okay. I'm having a hard time seeing that map on my wall back there. Continue on.
In this evil hour, I have come on an errand over many dangerous leagues to Elrond. Elrond. Dang it.
He is under Neti Pot.
Man, I need it.
Antwash.
Under many dangerous leagues to Elrond. 110 days I have journeyed all alone, but I do not seek allies in war. The might of Elrond is in wisdom, not in weapons, it is said. I come to ask for counsel and the unraveling of hard words.
I love that saying. The unraveling of hard words.
Yeah. For on the eve of the sudden assault, a dream came to my brother in a troubled sleep. And afterwards a like dream came off to him again, and once to me. In that dream I thought the eastern sky grew dark, and there was a growing thunder, but in the west a pale light lingered, and out of it I heard a voice, remote but clear, crying, "Seek for the sword that was broken. In Imladris it dwells."
I don't know, maybe.
There shall be... Let me just start that over.
Yeah, we don't have a mulligan on this show.
Not on this one. Seek for the sword that was broken. In Imladris it dwells. There shall be counsels taken, stronger than Morgul's spells.
Mm-hmm.
There shall be shown a token that doom is near at hand. For Isildur's bane shall waken, and the halfling forth shall stand. Of these words we could understand little, and we spoke to our father, Denethor, Lord of Minas Tirith, wise in the lore of Gondor. This only would he say, that Imladris was of old the name among the elves of a far northern dale, where Elrond the half-elven dwelt, greatest of lore masters. Therefore, my brother, seeing how desperate was our need...
Therefore, my brother...
I did it again.
Yes.
I did it again. Therefore, my brother, seeing how desperate was our need, was eager to heed the dream and seek for Elamdris. But since the way was full of doubt and danger, I took the journey upon myself. Loath was my father.
Loth, I think, is how they would pronounce it.
Well, whatever. Loth was my father to give me leave, and long have I wandered by roads forgotten, seeking the house of Elrond, of which many had heard, but few knew where it lay.
This is a fantastic segment here. This is Boromir saying, this is why I came. I wasn't called, not by anybody here, right? We're talking about that providence.
Mm-hmm.
As we are talking about the troubles that brought all these different peoples, these different representatives of the different people groups, men and elves and dwarves and hobbits, right? But Elrond says, I didn't call you. He was called, though. He was called in this dream. Bad things are taking place. There's a power that they had never experienced before. They were being defeated by these armies that had no business being able to defeat these proud warriors. And he comes because the might of Elrond is in wisdom and not in weapons, it is said. I come to ask for counsel and the unraveling of hard words. And he gives us those hard words. For on the very eve of sudden assault, a dream came to my brother in a troubled sleep. And afterwards, a like dream came off to him again, and once to me. In that dream, I thought the eastern sky grew dark, and there was a growing thunder, and in the west a pale light lingered, and out of it I heard a voice, remote but clear, crying, seek for the sword that was broken. In Imladris it dwells. There shall be counsels taken, stronger than Morgul's spells. There shall be shown a token that doom is near at hand, for Isildur's bane shall waken, and the halfling forth shall stand. Of these words we could understand little, and we spoke to our father Denethor, Lord of Minas Tirith, wise in the lore of Gondor. This only would he say, that Imladris was of old the name among the elves of a far northern dale, where Elrond the half-elven dwelt, greatest of lore masters. All of this providence, this is the spirit of Eru Ilúvatar working. As we mentioned on the last episode, I believe I did. I hope I did. If not, I'm mentioning it now, where Peter Kraft was making, and this was a home run point in his lecture, Christianity and Lord of the Rings, where he says that at the heart of this story is the story of absolute power and only Ilúvatar's right to it. It is his. He created all things. He created Melkor, who introduced that dissonance into the song of the Ainur. And now we see, after thousands of years, we see Eru Ilúvatar working right here in this very council. This is really powerful stuff, and this isn't even what I've been working up to, because I'm sure we're not going to get to that this episode either. So right now I'm going to say that this is a reminder to me of the day of Pentecost.
How so?
AD 30, right around there. Because as Peter stands up and he says, well, what's taking place? Okay, these disciples they're hiding. They're hiding in an upper room. Mm-hmm. And then the Spirit comes upon them.
That rolling thunder.
Whoa, that sound of rushing wind. And those tongues of fire. And they come out and they are speaking in tongues that they have no business knowing the language of. Okay, and the people are witnessing this and saying, "Oh, these guys are drunk, man. They're drunk." And Peter says, "No, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. These men are not drunk as you suppose, but this is what was spoken of through the prophet Joel. This is what you are seeing is. It's not like, it is what was spoken of through the prophet Joel." He's saying, make no mistake, and all of you are familiar with the scriptures, all of you that are accusing these men of being drunk, make no mistake, this is what was spoken of through Joel the prophet in chapter 2. Verse 28, Joel wrote, "It will come about after this that I," God speaking, "I will pour out my Spirit on all mankind, and your sons and daughters will prophesy, and your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. I will display wonders in the sky and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke." This is what Boromir is describing was taking place there in Minas Tirith. And this power that they had never experienced before, and these wild Easterlings and the cruel... who is it again, Micah? The
Haradrim.
Yes, the cruel Haradrim. "I will display wonders in the sky and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes." And that great and awesome day of Eru Ilúvatar is coming. It is coming. But right now, we are reading about prophecies and dreams and visions through Boromir. So just remember that, brothers and sisters out there, fellow followers of the way. When you're reading this part of the Council of Elrond, you can share this with somebody. You know what this really reminds me of that day of Pentecost, when Peter stood up and gave the first gospel sermon to all of those Jewish people from all around the world that were there for the feast. And God chose that time. Boom. Boom. Joel chapter 2, verses 28 through 31. Now, this is that. Not like, it is. Just some thoughts.
Hey, there you go.
Anything you want to add to, take away from? You want to contradict me? Tell me I'm nuts?
I will.
Okay.
But later on.
Oh, okay.
Not contradict you, but just I'll have something to add on.
Oh, okay.
Later
you want to
on.
keep it in this episode?
I think so. In this episode, yes.
All right.
We are getting there.
Yes.
We are getting there. And I do believe we'll actually hit it this time.
Oh.
Let's see. Okay. Picking right back up. And, okay, good. I love this part. "And here in the house of Elrond shall more be made clear to you," said Aragorn, standing up. He cast his sword upon the table that stood before Elrond, and the blade was in 2 pieces. "Here is the sword that was broken," he said. "And who are you? And what have you to do with Minas Tirith?" asked Boromir, looking in wonder at the lean face of the ranger and his weather-stained cloak.
Can we let's reread that? let's read it in a different, with a different emphasis. And who are you?
So are you saying there's not so much confrontation?
No. I'm just saying.
He's not angry.
And
He's
who,
just bemused.
Maybe
who
Boromir
are
just comes
you?
off angry.
Maybe.
And what have you to do with Minas Tirith? Asked Boromir, looking in wonder at the lean face of the ranger and his weather-stained cloak. Micah, we were talking a little bit the other night after watching some of those, the extended versions, and the difference between Viggo Mortensen's Aragorn, who I love. Okay, I think Viggo Mortensen...
I don't, but...
Okay,
continue.
I do. How different he is in the films than in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to expound on that just a little bit?
Viggo Mortensen plays a very, reluctant character.
That's the word, reluctant.
Where Aragorn is not. He desires to go to Gondor, and I don't know if he desires to be king specifically, but, to go to where he belongs. And in the books, he's a chieftain. He is a leader. In the movies, it never shows him meeting the other Dunedain and the Rangers of the North and stuff. And that, with Halbrand calling him his chief or whatever, he said, what is the word he calls him? Chieftain or something? Something like that. But yeah, he has no pride about him, Viggo Mortensen.
And not pride in a bad way.
No, he's just a proud man,
Yeah,
just in looks.
He
and,
knows his lineage. Mm-hmm. He knows who he is, and it's fun to watch. So just keep that in mind. See how this Aragorn, Tolkien's Aragorn, how he plays out in this story. It's strikingly different, really. But that said, I still love Viggo Mortensen. Okay, and so remember that as we're reading his words. Boom, here. I don't think he's doing that arrogantly either. As a matter of factly, here. Well, what do you have to do? What do you have to do with Minas Tirith? Asked Boromir, looking in wonder at the lean face of the ranger in his weather-stained cloak. He is Aragorn, son of Arathorn, said Elrond, and he is descended through many fathers from Isildur, Elendil's son of Minas Ithil. He is the chief of the Dunedain of the North, and few are now left of that folk. Gives me goosebumps.
There you go. Then it belongs to you, and not to me at all, cried Frodo in amazement, springing to his feet as if he expected the ring to be demanded at once. So then when he says, then he's talking about the ring.
Yeah. Can you imagine what's going on in Frodo's mind right now? Strider? I've been with him for days now. He's protected me. He's worked at, helped healing wounds. He's a guide like no other guide. Man.
And what's weird to think about?
That's weird.
Is that Frodo hasn't spoken up. That's the first time that Frodo has said anything since the beginning of the chapter.
He's out of his element.
He's sitting, yeah. But I like to think of what is he thinking during this what is it during this whole time that Boromir's been speaking, that Elrond's been speaking.
Well,
that
he
Glóin has been
knows
speaking.
he's holding what they're speaking about.
Yeah. So he's got to be bubbling at the brim just to leak out. And finally here he comes out with it. Then it belongs to you and not to me at all, cried Frodo in amazement, springing to his feet as if he expected the ring to be demanded at once. It does not belong to either of us, said Aragorn, but it has been ordained that you should hold it for a while. Bring out the ring, Frodo, said Gandalf solemnly.
It has been ordained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Providence.
Said Gandalf solemnly. The time has come. Hold it up, and then Boromir will understand the remainder of his riddle. Oh. There was a hush, and all turned their eyes on Frodo. He was shaken by a sudden shame and fear, and he felt a great reluctance to reveal the ring, and a loathing of its touch. He wished he was far away, The ring gleamed and flickered as he held it up. Before them... Do that one again. The ring gleamed and flickered as he held it up before them in his trembling hand. "Behold, Isildur's bane," said Elrond. Boromir's eyes glinted as he gazed at the golden thing. "The halfling," he muttered. "Then is the doom of Minas Tirith come at last? Is then the doom of Minas Tirith come at last? But why then should we seek a broken sword?" "The words were not the doom of Minas Tirith," said Aragorn, "but doom and great deeds are indeed at hand. For the sword that was broken is the sword of Elendil that broke beneath him when he fell. It has been treasured by his heirs when all other heirlooms were lost. For it was spoken of old among us. For it was spoken of old among us that it should be made again when the ring, Isildur's bane, was found. Now that you have seen the sword that you have sought, what would you ask? Do you wish for the house of Elendil to return to the land of Gondor?" "I was not sent to beg any boon, but to seek only the meaning of a riddle," answered Boromir proudly. "Yet we are hard-pressed, and the sword of Elendil would be a help beyond our hope, if such a thing could indeed return out of the shadows of the past." He looked again at Aragorn, and doubt was in his eyes. Frodo felt Bilbo stir impatiently at his side. Like if you want to imagine Frodo trying to keep himself contained the whole time, just imagine Bilbo go like...
But we get a little bit of levity because we're experiencing some high drama.
Yeah. Yes. And that levity is just around the page. At least around the page turn for me.
I'm looking at it.
Hey, there you go. Frodo felt Bilbo stir impatiently at his side. Evidently, he was annoyed on his friend's behalf. Bilbo's friend being Aragorn. The Strider, what does he call him? The Dunedain?
Yeah, the Dunedain.
Yeah. Standing suddenly up, he burst out. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadow shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. Not very good, perhaps, but to the point. If you need more than beyond the word of Elrond.
Yes.
If that was worth a journey of 110 days to hear, you had best listen to it. He sat down with a snort. I love it.
Yes.
I made that up myself. He whispered to Frodo, for the Dunedain a long time ago when he first told me about himself. Dunedain.
I say it's Dunedain, but
No,
there's
there's
no I,
Dunedain and Dunedain. Dunedain is the man.
Oh,
from
okay.
the north.
Okay, so Dunedain is the singular.
Yes.
Duned,
But it's
referring to
it's
Aragorn.
a title, too.
It's a title, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I made that up myself, he whispered to Frodo, for the Dunedain a long time ago when he first told me about himself. I almost wish that my adventures were not over and that I could go with him when his day comes.
He wants to go with the king.
He's been stirred.
Oh,
He's been stirred. He
wants to go.
He's been quickened.
Oh, yes.
Hey.
Yes. Maybe a little bit of a resurrection.
Hey.
A lifting up.
Yeah.
That's what the word means.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Aragorn smiled at him, and then he turned to Boromir again. For my part, I forgive your doubt, he said. Little do I resemble the figures of Elendil and Isildur as they stand carven in their majesty in the halls of Denethor. I am but the heir of Isildur, not Isildur himself. I have had a hard time and a long... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I have had a hard life and a long, and the leagues that lie between here and Gondor are a small part in the count of my journeys. I have crossed many mountains and many rivers, and trodden many plains, even into the far countries of Rune, and Harad, where the stars are strange. But my home, such as I have, is in the north. For here the heirs of Valandil have ever dwelt in long line unbroken, from father unto son for many generations. Our days have darkened, and we have dwindled, but ever the sword has passed to a new keeper. And this I will say to you, Boromir, ere I end. Lonely men are we, rangers of the wild, hunters, but hunters ever of the servants of the enemy. For they were found in many places, not in Mordor only. If Gondor, Boromir, has been a stalwart tower, we have played another part. Many evil things there are that your strong walls and bright swords do not stay. Let me read that again. Many evil things there are that your strong walls and bright swords do not stay. You will know little of the lands beyond your bounds. You know little of the lands beyond your bounds. Peace and freedom, do you say? The North would have known them little but for us. Fear would have destroyed them. But when dark things come from the houseless hills or creep from sunless woods, they fly from us.
They fly from us. Wow.
What roads would any dare to tread? What safety would there be in quiet lands or in the homes of simple men at night if the Dunedain were asleep or were all gone to the grave? And yet, less thanks have we than you. Travelers scowl at us, and countrymen give us scornful names. Strider, I am to one fat man who lives within a day's march of foes that would freeze his heart, or lay his little town to ruin if he were not guarded ceaselessly. Yet we would not have it otherwise. If simple folk are free from care and fear, simple they will be, and we must be secret to keep them so. That has been the task of my kindred, while the years have lengthened and the grass has grown.
Wow. Wow.
Talk about a guy pouring his heart out.
And talk about a completely different Aragorn than...
He says we, not I.
Totally different than in the films. Totally different. And he's schooling Boromir, but he's
not antagonistic.
Yeah, he's not being nasty.
Yeah.
He's being matter of fact.
Yeah.
You don't even realize what is taking place outside, where me and my people are keeping the real bad at bay. What he says about Butterbur, okay, is funny, right? But it is also very, very poignant. You know, one fat man, okay, he's not insulting him. He's just describing his lifestyle, right? He lives in this little town, but it's a big town to them. We talked about that when we were at the Prancing Pony and when we were in Bree. Mm-hmm. It's an important town to those people, with travelers coming up the Greenway and along the Great East Road. But in the grand scheme of things, Strider I am to one fat man who lives within a day's march of foes that would freeze his heart or lay his little town in ruins if he were not guarded ceaselessly by my kindred. You don't understand really what's going on, Boromir. You come with dreams and visions, and I am telling you what they mean. Let me interpret these for you. Wow. That's a powerful scene. That is, again, high drama. Thank you to Bilbo for breaking that up right in the middle of this. But now the world is changing once again. A new hour comes. Isildur's bane is found. Battle is at hand. The sword shall be reforged. I will come to Minas Tirith. Okay, I didn't even expect to get that far, Brenden. Just pack it up, okay? Because
What?
now I have to do this all off the top of my head.
Oh, man.
Okay,
All right.
Brenden,
Here we go.
the sword... Let me just read that again. Boy, I didn't expect this snuck right up on me. But now the world is changing once again. A new hour comes. Isildur's bane is found. Battle is at hand. The sword shall be reforged. I will come to Minas Tirith. This is the one I've been waiting for, brothers and sisters. What have we been talking about? Thank you to Peter Kraft for pointing out this this picture of the three aspects of the Messiah: prophet, priest, and king. Mm-hmm. He fulfills them all, and we see those separately portrayed because this is not an allegory. This is not moralism, but once again, Tolkien being a Christian. And he said verbatim that that can be deduced by his stories. Mm-hmm. And so we expect to see the fingerprint of God all over this epic tale. And I'm thinking, you know, I love types and antitypes. I love types and shadows. I love to find the types and the shadows in the Old Testament and then to find their fulfillment in the New Testament. I do believe wholeheartedly in that old adage, the New Testament is in the Old Testament concealed and the Old Testament is in the New Testament revealed. I love that ancient rabbinical saying that when the Messiah comes, he will not only interpret the law, he will interpret the spaces between the letters. In other words, wholly and fully. And King David is a type of Jesus Christ, of the Messiah. And so you have to keep that in mind, especially when you're reading through the Psalms, because there's a lot of Psalms that will like to say, well, this is a messianic psalm. And you know, perhaps the others are not, and it's hard. That's a fine line to really determine, because unless you know, he's saying these things that are overt and that we are used to reading in the New Testament, we may tend to skip over. And of course, King David being a type. And types and shadows are just that. They are types and they are shadows. They are not a perfect representation of what the Messiah would be. They are a picture of what he will be. Psalm 40. You know, I waited patiently for the Lord. See if you hear Aragorn in this at all. And he inclined. I waited patiently for Eru Ilúvatar. And he inclined to me and heard my cry. He brought me up out of the pit of destruction, out of the miry clay, and he set my feet upon a rock, making my footsteps firm. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and will trust in the Lord. How blessed is the man who has made the Lord his trust and has not turned to the proud, nor to those who lapse into falsehood. Many, O Lord my God, are the wonders which you have done, and your thoughts toward us. There is none to compare with you. If I would declare and speak of them, they would be too numerous to count. Here's the key text, starting in verse 6. Sacrifice and meal offering you have not desired. My ears you have opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you have not required. Then I said, behold, I come. In the scroll of the book, it is written of me. The sword will be reforged, Boromir. I will come to Minas Tirith. This is quoted in Hebrews. When Paul is writing to the Hebrew when the anonymous, unknown writer of Hebrews is writing to
all of them, several
Hebrew believers, Jewish Christians, he quotes this passage. Let's go here to verse 4. Well, remember verse 6 of Psalm 40 says, sacrifice and meal offering you have not desired, and my ears you have opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you have not required. Verse 4 of Hebrews chapter 10, for it is impossible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sins. Therefore, when he comes into the world, he says, sacrifice and offering you have not desired, but a body you have prepared for me. Remember, the writer of Hebrews is quoting the Septuagint, which is the Hebrew scriptures translated into Greek.
Greek, yeah.
When was this? About 200 BC? Right around there?
I think so, yeah.
The 70 who translated this. So, we're reading the Greek version. Sacrifice and offering you have not desired, but a body you have prepared for me. In whole burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you have taken no pleasure. Then I said, behold, I have come. In the scroll of the book it is written of me, to do your will, O God. I could go on, but he is talking about the Messiah. Psalm 40 is a messianic psalm. The Messiah is in there, as David is talking about himself, but these shadows, these types are fulfilled in Christ Jesus, as the writer of Hebrews is reminding his readers. I love that. Behold, I have come to do your will. That's in verse 9. He takes away the first in order to establish the second. There's a whole litany of theology that we could go into in there. But this. So not only are we seeing Psalm chapter 2, the day of Pentecost, Acts 2, the day of Pentecost being fulfilled from Joel chapter 2 in Boromir having these dreams and visions. We have the Messiah. And what does Messiah mean? What does Christ mean?
The anointed one?
The anointed one.
The chosen.
Who, more than all others, is anointed. Okay, now we can say the prophets because prophets were anointed, right?
Right.
But when they are saying those who are anointed, with oil on their head, that's what you do to a king. That's what you do to a king. Messiah and Christ is an allusion to king. And this is King Aragorn. I love this. After all of this backstory and about the ring, where it came from, what it did, what's this war, Boromir comes, we're having visions and dreams. And we don't know what they mean. We need somebody to interpret these things. We were told to come to Imladris because Elrond, half-elven, is the greatest of lore masters. Mm-hmm. And being there to talk to Elrond, he comes in contact with the king. I've had a hard life and long, is what Aragorn says. I'm sorry. And the leagues that lie between here and Gondor, a small part in the count of my journeys. I've crossed many mountains and many rivers and trodden many plains, even to far countries of Rhûn and Harad, where the stars are strange. But when he skips down, but now the world is changing once again, Boromir. A new hour comes. Isildur's bane is found. Battle is at hand. The sword shall be reforged. I will come to Minas Tirith. It's written of me in the scroll of the book. The king. This is the messianic, the kingly office being just in spades. Thank you, Tolkien, for doing that. And thank you, Peter Kraft, for pointing that out. Any questions, comments, piggybacks, editorials, off-the-wall remarks? No? Silence? I hear crickets. I hear lots of crickets. Well, Gandalf has a comment.
You need say no more.
Oh, there you go.
We'd best get a move on. There are still goblins about.
Oh, bother. More mountains?
No, don't you see? The sun is setting in the west, behind the mountains. We're on the other side, to the edge of
the land beyond.
See, last week I didn't even bring up a Christian theme, so this week you got two.
Oh, there you go.
And I didn't even plan it.
All right. Nice.
Yes. So we will go ahead and pick up right there because Boromir has a response for Aragorn and these words that he has been sharing with him. But in the meantime, dear listeners, what Christian themes did you find, or what parts of this chapter, doesn't have to be a Christian theme, what part of this chapter so far that we have been discussing has stood out to you, and why? Let us know. We'll give you all the ways to contact us here in just a few minutes. But first we have...
What on earth are these?
I don't know.
Replies to the party invitations.
Good gracious.
Oh, we got a reply to the party invitation. Only one that I'm aware of. Usually Brenden likes to pull some out of his hat here at the... Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a party invitation out of my hat.
Oh, golly, Bullwinkle. Oh, no.
Again. We got a voicemail on our SpeakPipe account, which, of course, if you go to our website at secretfirepodcast.com, you can see down at the very bottom of the website, there's a little button there that says Call Us, and that'll uses SpeakPipe, which is a great service because you can use the built-in microphone on your phone or on your computer, and it just comes across sounding like you're in the studio with us. And patron saint Michael Potter, the Ranger from the North.
Michigan.
Yes, he has something to share with us.
Hey guys, this is Michael, the Ranger from the North, from the lands of Michigan. Just wanted to let you know that 3 weeks is way too long for an episode to arrive, and so I've missed y'all, and also wanted to tell you that it's not as much fun reading along without your banter and comments, and I prefer to read as a community. It's weird because I've got the books, I've got the audio books, I've got all the tools, but it's not as much fun. So anyway, just wanted to say thanks and encourage you to keep going and keep doing, and we'll talk to you next time.
Brenden, over the past 4 years or so that you and I have been broadcasting together, we've received a lot of voicemail, a lot of feedback, and I just want to say here before God and everybody and all the listeners, the fellowship that's all around the world tuning in, that Michael Potter just left one of the most encouraging voicemails that we've received. And it's a very simple voicemail, very simple sentiments. But the reason why it's so encouraging to me is because he understands exactly what the purpose of this show is. He described it more succinctly than I ever have, but then again, I'm not good at being succinct, am I?
What?
No, that's why I have to have a microphone. In fact, I got many of them here. In case, so thank you so much for that. I mean, just describing what the show is. We are not... I mean, now, Brenden, this is your first time going through the book.
Yeah.
But most people, I would venture to say the vast majority of people that listen to the Secret Fire podcast are lovers of the text.
Sure.
And have read it many times, and that's where they love to be. They love to be in Middle-earth. Mm-hmm. Michael Potter is the same way. A great fan, a great admirer, a great lover of all things Middle-earth. He has the books. He's read the books many times. He has the audio books. He can listen right along with Rob Inglis, the voice of Tolkien. Mm-hmm. But it's this coming together and sharing the stories together. Fellowship, koinonia, communion. It's a community. And man, thank you. Thank you for that, and please keep the feedback coming, Michael, because that is that's what helps keep us going. That and patreon.com/GCTN. Okay. Now, let me say this, because Michael Potter is a patron saint of the GCT Network and the Secret Fire podcast, and he donates monthly through PayPal. Now, we have just started our Patreon account, and I'm showing the link to it on the screen right now if you're watching the video, to support the fellowship at patreon.com/GCTN. I want to encourage Michael Potter. I want to encourage patron saint Ron of the South Farthing and all the others that are contributing through PayPal to go ahead and continue doing it that way. You don't need to cancel that and move over to Patreon. We're just giving. We just started this Patreon account because so many people use it, and it's such an easy way to support creators, content creators, podcasters, folks that do video and all that good stuff. So, just a little bit of a reminder. All we're asking from you is a cup of water. Oh, and a big thanks to patron Saint Philip.
Hey, yeah.
I don't know if Philip listens to the Secret Fire podcast, but he is very involved in our other show, Finding Christ in Cinema. And he has, heretofore, once in a while would send in a large lump sum. So, every 6 months or maybe a year or whatever, out of the blue, boom, here comes a big amount from Philip. And he has paid for equipment in the studio by doing that. Well, he signed up on our Patreon account. He's providing us a jar of hard candies every month.
All right.
Okay. And
now, Michael, why are hard candies important?
They are very important, along with tepid water, for keeping down mouth noises. The kind that Brenden, because he's under the weather, has today.
Sorry, guys.
So all the hard candy, he could swallow this whole jar and all the water in the world, and that's not going to help that. But under normal circumstances, hard candies and tepid water and green apples are the best in order to alleviate mouth noises going into the microphone.
See, I really need a neti pot.
No, you need an Entwash.
We could do that on the air. A neti pot.
Hey, we could do that. That could be a special.
ritual.
No, that'll be a special behind-the-scenes video once we get to a certain amount of supporters on Patreon.
Because we have to see
if you folks want to watch Brenden use a neti pot.
I don't know what this is. I don't think I'm down for it, though.
You get over to patreon.com/GCTN because that one day will be part of our special
That will be a seller. That's a selling point there.
Right. I mean, that'll do it. If anything, will do it.
Oh, that's a live neti pot.
Hey, we're just about out of time here. Anything fun going on? Hey, you know what, Micah? This is what I've been forgetting to ask you about. In your schooling here, Micah's homeschooled. You folks know that. And he's in his senior year of high school. And is it your literature class?
Yeah, it encompasses all like grammar and everything.
What are you doing in that this year?
Doing a Lord of the Rings study. All 3 of the volumes.
Wow, how's that going?
Very well, actually.
Yeah?
I'm enjoying it immensely.
Why? What's good about it?
Well, obviously it's easy for me because, I can remember the chapters off the top of my head and I can answer, fill in questions and stuff. But there's certain things they have like afterthoughts in the text and like things that you might not have thought about. And a lot of the things, they're simple, like, Frodo's a heroic character or whatever, something simple like that. But a lot of things, or even just reading these chapters and filling in a word on like a fill-in-the-blank thing, I think, oh, I've never really thought about this. So it's helping me glean different things here and there, but also I'm immensely enjoying the vocabulary.
Okay.
Yeah.
As he stumbles over the word vocabulary.
Yeah.
What word am I looking for? Oh, vocabulary.
That's the word.
What I liked is that you used the word gleaning, because that is a very important concept. Gleaning. And I'll just leave that for the listeners to expound on that. I've done too much talking on this episode today. Brenden, what's going on with you? Anything good?
Yeah, we're getting ready to do a live radio version of War of the Worlds at the Fly Arts Center.
Awesome!
Which, oddly enough, happens the evening of the One Day of Hope.
Ah, that is coming up here in Manchester.
That is coming up.
What's that, October 15th?
14th.
14th.
Yeah, that's Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about One Day of Hope when that comes around.
Yes.
And a little bit more about that on our other show, Secret Fire Podcast. Anything else, guys? Anything?
Wait, our other show what?
I'm sorry, our other show is Finding Christ. I'm used to recording that first.
Yeah. Which, I might be starting to like doing Secret Fire first.
Like, as a warm-up?
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like, because this is our laid-back show.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, it would count as like a warm-up. Because we can still be laid back.
Uh-huh.
And then, but still also getting to the podcast mindset.
Well, Secret Fire... sorry. What is our other show called? Finding Christ in Cinema. We're only doing episode number 151 today.
Yeah.
Right. That is also heard on our local radio station, and so it needs to be a little more, snappy and peppy and...
Yeah.
And getting words right and remembering vocabulary.
Yes, and all that stuff. Right. This is, man, we are adventuring. We are explorers here.
Not wasting time talking about neti pots.
With our fellowship here.
And washes.
Well, we used to spend a lot of time doing that, but that's enough. That's enough. Hey, next week, should we continue doing the Council of Elrond, or are you guys done with this? Should we just move on?
No, we're still doing it.
Oh, okay.
There's more to go.
All right, that's it for this show. But before we go, we have some invitations to send out, some party invitations, and I wonder if Micah has this pulled up on your screen, because you have a new line, Micah, the purple line there. The Secret Fire podcast is live each Saturday, Lord willing, at about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the GCT Network studio. You can join us for live video on our Twitch page at twitch.tv/Secret Fire Podcast.
And you can join us on the Lord of the Rings, you can join us on the Arkenstone server in Lord of the Rings Online at lotro.com. And my new one is you can support us, you can support GCTN and Secret Fire Podcast on Patreon at
patreon.com.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to
GCTN.
read the whole thing.
Don't try and spell that out.
Yeah.
See, and I sprung that on Micah here last minute. He didn't know that line was in there. To find out more about the Secret Fire podcast, as well as our other shows, including Finding Christ in Cinema and the Theonauts, visit our main website at gctnetwork.com.
But let's say you just want to send us an email. You can do so at secretfire@gctnetwork.com. Or you can call us up on the Hobbit hotline like Michael, the Ranger of North of Michigan, did at 507-407-GCTN. That's 507-407-4286. Now, let's say you want to tweet at us like Mr. Joseph Villafane. Find us at twitter.com/secretfirecast. But what if you just want to listen to the good old podcast?
That's what I want to do.
You can go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. You can go to iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, or your favorite podcatcher, and search them all for the Secret Fire Podcast.
And our theme song, Hobbit's Dance, is from the album Memories of Middle-earth by Brobdingnagian Bards. Find out more about them and buy music by visiting their website at thebards.net. And until next time, we regret to tell you that
this is the end. I'm going away. I'm leaving. Now, goodbye.
Goodbye!
It was tied to a Villafane.
You need to tell that joke someday.
What, it was tied to an Can we do it right now?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
Come on. Extra show special.
No.
Extra show special.
No
They'll love it.
Hey, man, I got a place to go.
They'll love
Mike
it.
has stuff to do.
Oh.
There's a lot of stumbling over words today, but
hey, it's all right.
It's all good.
I mean, I'm used to it. What was y'all's problem? I always do it, so I have no excuse.
Thanks, everybody, for watching here on twitch.tv/Secret Fire Podcast or on our YouTube channel after the fact at, you got to search for us. Go to YouTube and search for the Secret Fire Podcast, and we will see you here, Lord willing, or
Iluvatar willing, and the Bruin don't rise. There you go.
Next week.